A quick ball towards Whiteley, squares it towards G.
Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, there's a Bromley boys making all the noise. Everywhere we go.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to, what should we call this? Episode 2 of From Bromley with Love, the YouTube channel. Yes, you can see from the background that clearly I'm not home. I'm not in the UK at this moment in time, but the content can always be done. The content can always be made. I'm currently in Lisbon recording this content for you. What are we? So it's Thursday, 2 days out. Just over 48 hours from Bromley's second game of the season, live on BT Sport, no less. Make sure you lock in 5 o'clock kickoff, or is it 5:30 kickoff? Bromley versus Barnet. And the reason I wanted to touch base is, one, to make sure you lot realise that when I say this content's going to happen, content's going to happen. But to also just kind of look at some of the news that has come out over the last, 24 hours or so. So without any further ado, let me bring it up on the screen. As you can, here we go. As you can see, the picture on the screen is of Todd Miller. Yesterday, on Wednesday, Bromley announced the signing. I did say, for those of you who have read the article that I've done, the big conversation, I'd promised a lot of you and said, oh yeah, you know, I'm having a big conversation with Andy Woodman and so on and so forth. Finally got round to writing the article up. Wrote it on the plane over to Lisbon. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't if you haven't seen it yet, go to From Bromley with Love, the Substack channel. Look in the description below, and you can read that article in all its beauty. Anyways, in the article and in that interview, Andy Woodman said to me that expect more signings. He told me, or indicated to me, some of the positions that he was looking at. I declined to mention that in the article because I felt that I just didn't think it's my business really to say these are the positions that Andy Woodman's looking to strengthen in. But he did say to me in that interview, I'm going to be trying to get a winger in. And it makes sense, because if you think about it, have we replaced Harry Forster? Irrespective of what people believe about Harry Forster as a player, and I think I was very much of the opinion that Harry Forster is someone you keep. Not because he'd had a great season, but because of his potential upside. At 22, 23 years old, he's going to improve, you would think. Obviously, he's got his League Two move. He's at Crawley Town. But what Harry offered, no one else in the squad offers as a skill set, irrespective of what you believe about his particular ability. Harry offered direct running. He offered pace, the ability to get beyond his defender. Yes, I had issues with his end product. And I think if you look at his stats from last season, Harry scored 1 goal. I think it was 1 goal, the goal against Dorking. Correct me if was there a second one? I feel like we won 4-0 against someone as well, and he might have scored in that game. So maybe Harry scored 2 goals, and his assists were in single figures, five assists max, I think, across the season, 6 at best. So when you think about the fact that Harry Forster was an attacking player, irrespective of how many games he started across the season, was 2 goals and 5 assists good enough for somebody in the final third? For me, it wasn't, but it was worth persisting with him because of his raw talent, hence why he was probably offered a new deal. Either way, like I say, that skill set has not been replaced. We have no out-and-out winger on the books who's, you would say, is ready for National League football. Obviously, Corey Whiteley can do it on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, there's no out-and-out winger. Now, before people say to me, but Mash, we play a 3-5-2 shape. And that's true. And if I bring up the formation of the team that played against FC Halifax Town on the opening day of the season, certainly you can see that is the most oft-used shape that Bromley it's the go-to. It's the foundation. It's the basics. It's the fundamentals of a Bromley side, okay? The goalkeeper, the 3 centre-backs, the 2 wing-backs, 3 in midfield, etc. And that was an injury-hit side. But people may remember the turn of the year last year, when that shape wasn't working, Bromley shifted to a 4-2-3-1 for about maybe a month, just over a month of the season, from about December. I think we started it against Southend on Boxing Day, and that's when Kellen Fisher and Best came into the side at the time on loan from Millwall, and we went with a 4-2-3-1 for about a month to a month and a half of the season, and that worked quite well for a period of time. And when we played that 4-2-3-1, you essentially had three players behind Michael Cheek as the front man. You had Dennis in the hole, Whiteley on the left, and Harry on the right. If Woodman was to ever go back to that style and that shape, he has no one to do that on the right. He has no out-and-out right winger. So it makes sense to me that you'd bring in Todd Miller. Not because I expect Bromley to suddenly play 4-2-3-1, but because it's about depth of squad, right? It's about the depth of your squad, and it's about the ability to look at your squad and say, can we play different shapes at different times if injuries and or tactics determine that that's what we have to do? And if we need to switch it up, can we switch it up? And that's what Miller brings. Just going from, obviously, at the later today, whenever you lot are watching this, there will be a Ravens podcast, the official podcast from the club, where Andy will probably speak about in detail about Todd Miller's arrival. But for those who haven't yet looked into it, Todd was initially on the books at Dagenham and Redbridge. Let me take the formation off the screen for a bit. Sorry, people, give me a second. Yeah. Todd was originally on the books at Dagenham and Redbridge, and he then moved to Colchester. He got a move to Brighton. He's been in the Brighton kind of youth academy under 23 setup for a while, development squad, I should say. And then last season, most importantly of all, he had a loan spell at Doncaster and played 11 games on loan at Doncaster Rovers in League Two. Now, naturally, a lot of people go and look at those stats and they'll be like, wait a minute. Yeah, he played 11 games, Mash, but in those 11 games, he scored no goals. I don't know about assists. I've not spoken to people at Doncaster to find out about assists. From the little research that I've done, I know that in his time at Doncaster, they had to use him as an emergency striker because of all the injuries they had. That's not Todd Miller's best position. His position is as a winger. Up and down the flank. So I think if we're looking at those 11 games and no goals or whatever, we also have to take that into consideration that for part of that loan spell, he was probably played out of his natural position. From the clip I've seen from Andy, and I'll find out bits and pieces from Andy when I see him next Tuesday, probably. This is one of those players that Andy has been trying to negotiate with, try to get through the door. Possibly would have thought he might not get him because there are bigger clubs, the quote unquote bigger clubs that would have been interested in Todd Miller. But he's come through Bromley's door. And it kind of echoes the point I made in the article and the point that Andy, or the quote that Andy gave me, that Todd has signed on the 10th of August. I'm recording this on the 11th of August. Todd signed on the 10th of August. His contract at Brighton would have ended on the 31st of July. So when people are saying, oh, where's the signings? Where's the signings? Bromley can't move for someone like Todd Miller till Todd Miller decides what he's going to do once his contract runs out on the 31st of July. So we have to play that waiting game. But either way, I'm not going to be the one to say, oh, this is a fantastic signing. Is it good that we've got somebody with League Two pedigree? Yes, because this isn't a simple case like someone's come out of a Premier League development squad, no actual senior games, and come straight into a National League squad, and we're hoping he's going to be good. The guy's got 11 immediate, literally in the last 6 months, League Two performances under his belt, or appearances, I should say, under his belt. So the hope would be that once he's fully fit, once he's got up to speed, because he hasn't had a full pre-season, that this is an acquisition that benefits the Bromley lineup, and like I say, gives us far more flexibility in terms of tactics and approaches we can use. Going forward, what else do I expect to see? I expect Andy to bring in a midfielder. With Tate Campbell no longer available, I expect him to bring in a midfielder to play at the base of the midfield. I expect him to bring in an attacking midfielder. And possibly, I expect him to consider bringing in a striker. Because when you look at our front four, say Michael Cheek got injured this season, who replaces Michael Cheek? Who is the go-to person in the squad that you go, yeah, he or this person replaces Michael Cheek's skill set? I would argue there's no one. So expect more signings. Is this a good signing? Ultimately, time will tell. But is it a good signing in terms of adding flexibility to the squad and enabling us to be to not be a one-dimensional squad in terms of tactics and approach, most certainly. But time will tell. Until we actually see the guy play, who knows? Anyways, quick little video there. I'm going to go out into Lisbon, explore some more. For those of you who are going to be at the game on Saturday, enjoy that. I might do one more video before that game. For those who are watching it on TV like me, also enjoy that. I've been Mashal St. Patrick here, the host of From Bromley with Love. As you can see on the ticker tape below, you can find us on Twitter. I've set up a Twitter channel at Bromley with Love. You can join there. And head to the Substack page as well. Look in the descriptor of the video below. Head to the Substack page, read the article, etc. If you're interested in being part of the From Bromley with Love team, by all means, DM me, email, etc., etc., and let's have some discussions. Peace, people, and I shall see you soon.
Bromley play a quick ball towards Whiteley. Squares it towards G.